Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to round number 5 of the TGN Pro Series down here at the TGN Johannesburg Centre, as well as the TGN Centre in the Western Cape in Cape Town. Welcome in here. Like I mentioned, for round number 5, we're at Thruxton Race Circuit here. A pretty complex circuit, if you ask me. It looks relatively simple on the track map, but unfortunately for the drivers today, not a easy circuit whatsoever. It plays to a lot of technical perspective, especially with the coasting that you have to do, where you have to lift off instead of using your brakes as you normally would. And so for the time being, it has been a bit of a rough practice session for a couple of the drivers. They're trying to get those times in, but for the time being, Kitso Magia has been one of the fastest drivers out there, with a couple of others just not getting that key lap time in. But welcome in. My name is Tristan Herbst, and it's an absolute pleasure to commentate round number 5 here for you at TGN Pro Series. We're just about to get under qualifying. You can see just on your screens now, the drivers are preparing slowly but surely to get into their rigs and slowly get themselves out onto the track. And so we'll go over to our game window as of very shortly. But finally, it looks like we are all sorted for this time around in terms of qualifying. We can actually see everybody out on track at this time being. So we don't have to have that issue like we had last time, where we could only see one driver at a time. This time we've got everybody ready to rumble, and like we have had last week, we've got this week as well. We've got all the cameras ready to go on our drivers. We've got Artile in pit lane currently. I believe he is still over here and just trying to see. There he is over there, just in the bottom left, as you can see, still just trying to prepare in the pit lane. Ethan McDougall, one of the staff at TGN, yeah, also just trying to help everybody out, get on the rigs and get ready to go before the start of this race. Dean Jacobs is currently out on the track. Currently, you can see him pushing quite hard as he continues to pulsate on. But on cockpit view over here through this qualifying session, and man, it is so nice to be able to actually go through our participants here for the qualifying session. Last week it was a little bit awkward in terms of being stuck in the pit lane and only seeing Gio Sakia's camera, but this time we've got the whole crew over here ready to go for qualifying. And once again, a massive thank you to MasterDrive. You can see in the bottom left of the screen for the massive end-of-season sponsorship item, and that being the advanced driving course that will be rewarded to the winner of the series here at the TGN Pro Series for round number 5. But just to go through our event format once more, we spoke about it last week. Let's speak about it a little bit this week as well. So we've got a 10-minute qualifying, which, as you can see, is happening live right now. Christopher Long with the fastest lap time as of yet. But for the time being, and it looks like qualifying got reset over there. A bit of an odd one, but qualifying has officially been reset. Not too sure why. A couple of our drivers, as you can see, swarming out of the pit lane now. Bit of an odd one there, but it's all good. We're back to racing like we should be. Let's just get Dean off our cams over there, as we're not too sure is going out on track for the time being. But like I mentioned, we've got our 10-minute qualifying that seems to be restarting now. We then have race number 1, which is a 20-minute grid, 20-minute race that is based on qualifying. So it all comes down to this qualifying session in terms of where you will start race number 1. You definitely do not want to be towards the bottom of the pack here. You do want to be up towards the top. Then race number 2 is a reverse grid, and it is based on the results of race number 1. So if you had a bit of a shabby race number 1 and things didn't exactly go your way, well, you've got a bit of a redemption shot for yourself in race number 2, where you might be positioned a little bit higher up on that grid stance, and that could be really good for you for a couple of points. And then finally, we have our race number 3, the Chaos Race, which is a random starting grid, which proves to be a little bit chaotic when you've got some of the faster drivers starting towards the back and some of the newer drivers starting towards the front. It does play quite nicely as to how they manage the track with each other on. And just a reminder, the top 15 drivers will be getting points here today in each of these races. So if you finish in the top 15, it means you get points. And that's exactly what you want here. But all of our drivers currently out on track. You can see loads of them just going around track for the time being. But for now, it looks like a couple of lap times have come in. Kat Kapari is up into 2nd position. It's not enough, though, for getting themselves up there. And it's a bit odd. We're not seeing the lap times we saw in practice. Obviously, we're seeing 1:15s. And there's a bit of a spin. Not too sure that is, as the qualifying leaderboard won't reflect relative. As somebody just off there in the middle of the track, Christopher Long goes up P1 with the 1:57. Just crossing the line, but I definitely think he can go faster. I believe that might have been out of the pit lane, as we can see loads of different time scalings coming out over here. We've got most of the people that we saw last week are back racing over here. Morgan Goodwin also, you can see him in the bottom left-hand side, down in 14th position for the time being, now 15th with a 1:30.405. But like I did mention, those times are going to begin to scale a little bit as everybody becomes more comfortable with the racing. As you can see, Ethan McDougall also out on track in his i30N, just trying to get those lap times in, currently with a 2:25. That's obviously his outlap with that time, but now trying to get it up there a little bit further. We've got 7 minutes left, though, so he does still have a lot of time to play with here for the time being. Christopher Long, though, there we go. There comes a more realistic lap time. Gio Sakia coming in with a 1:15.5, and Daniel Kent just coming with a 1-up over there. Even again, Kitso Magia coming up with another 1-up, a 1:14.7 there for Kitso, and just getting a little bit of grass there. That's not going to be great for a second lap, and off he goes. There's definitely no shot in saving that lap time. But Kitso Magia up to 1:14.7. Daniel Kent took a 1:15.1. So incredible work there from some of our drivers to get themselves up into those scoring positions in terms of times. Ralph Schuster has also joined us this week. We unfortunately missed him last week, and taking a huge shunt against the wall over there for Ralph Schuster. We missed him last week. He was unfortunately not able to make the racing last week, but 2 weeks ago. I forgot the Pro Series is every second Thursday, but he's here tonight. He's here to prove his worth here, and for the time being, not doing too shabby. He's up in 8th position with a 1:16.7. He can obviously go a lot faster. Dean Jacobs also down in 13th position. He's got an 18.4. He's definitely going to be trying to get that lap time a little bit closer up towards what we're seeing in the leaders in our top 5. It's a 1:14 to 1:15 splits, all the way from 1st to 5th, and so that's what our drivers are going to be aspiring for here. Dean just taking a little bit too much grass, and that's probably going to play into a invalid lap time. Jared Leask, we also saw quite dominating 2 weeks ago at round number 4 at Silverstone. He really proved his worth last week between the mix of the 3 races, and so let's see what he can do this week. Currently down in 15th, though, the 1:24. I did see he arrived late. I'm currently here commentating live at the Johannesburg Centre. And so it's quite a nice thing to do, is when in between the races you actually go down and have a bit of a chat with the drivers and have a bit of a in-person interview just to see how things are going. So Jared Leask only arriving pretty much as soon as qualifying started. I didn't see him while I was walking around just before we began the stream. So Jared Leask has he's using this qualifying session as a practice session. So 1:24 on the board. It's not looking too good for him, but he does thankfully still have 5 minutes to make up for it. Kitso Magia, though, nobody has been able to clutch in that time with a 1:14.7. And so for the time being, Kyle Williams is the closest down in Western Province, but he is sitting with a 1:14.9 for himself. Not too sure why our intervals are not showing. That's our track info, but only our lap count is showing over here. I'd love for it to show our leaderboard or our telemetry, but for the time being, it's just showing how many laps have been done. Thankfully, I do have the view of what the lap times are looking at, but for the time being, Kitsumagia still sitting with that 114.7. Daniel Kent now one-ups again over Kyle Williams. He's now got a 114.872. Kyle Williams with the 114.9, so just doing a little bit better there than Kyle Williams, trying to push on stronger through the rest of this race. Omar Khan has also joined over here in 5th position currently with a 115.45. So he's going to want to try and find a little bit more pace in that Ford Focus. There's a little bit of a lighting glitch going on here in AC. Sometimes we do see that the roll bars look like they've got some lighting bars stuck to the side of them. Super unfortunate to see that, but the racing continues. Thankfully, not an issue that affects racing. LG Truscott down in 14th as well with a 117.0. Pretty flat time if you have to ask me, and Morgan Goodwin just a little bit further behind him down in 8th position, also just trying to get comfortable. I'm seeing a lot of misbrakings coming here from most of the drivers, and just remember these BTCCs are front engine drive cars. A big thing to note though for this week compared to 2 weeks ago to round number 4, round number 5 has got an updated model of these BTCC cars, so the cars now have a integrated KERS system, which is quite beneficial. The cars are allowed to use 15% of their KERS battery every single lap, and obviously that KERS battery also charges every single time you brake or coast. And so if you don't know what KERS is, it's essentially a bit of a battery boost pack that's inside the car, and it just allows the car to get a little bit more speed out on track. So it actually stands for the Kinetic Energy Recovery System, and so obviously kinetic being movement, so when you move, when you coast, when you brake, it does charge up that battery, and then it allows you to just get a little bit of a boost. If you watch 2010 Formula 1, you'll know what KERS is. It was obviously removed from Formula 1 when we transitioned into the modern era, and then we switched over to DRS, which was a little bit better and more beneficial for the cars. They didn't have to carry a whole new battery pack for a bit of a boost. Instead, it just utilized aerodynamics. But in the BTCCs over here, it's not a car that can go fast enough and relies so much on aerodynamics like a Formula 1 car. And so for any form of boost, we have to rely on the KERS system, which is what all of them have. And like I mentioned, it's 15% that they can use each lap, which it's quite a lot, but it also does get eaten quite quickly if you're not cautious with that KERS system. Dean Jacobs, though, down in 19th position. He's unfortunately not had the best of qualifying sessions over here. I'm just going to look at something real quick for the time being. I'll put you on the wide cam. Apologies there to all our viewers. Just trying to see quickly what's going on with these with the broadcast settings, as I'd love to see our live timings. So not too sure why it is showing. It's not showing the timings, and instead it's only showing lap count, which is not what we want. So let's have a look quickly if we can do anything over here. Leaderboard, show interval, show last lap, show best lap. All right, cool. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So let's go and bind that to something just so that we've got it. And now we should be able to bind that to our... Okay, that does not seem to be working. Let's try something else here. I'd love to get that up for you guys, just so you can see what's going on with all these drivers over here. And for the time being, trying to get this sorted as fast as possible for you guys. Show best lap. Oh, practice qualify. There we go. Show best lap is... there we go. L. That's exactly what I want. Ah, there we go. Thank you so much. Alrighty, now we are good to go. Let's put you back on the game window, and now you should be able to see that lap times have officially been set over there. So it's still a 114.7 for Kitsumagia, and he is absolutely flying around the Thruxton circuit here. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, it's a very technical circuit when it comes to driving it. It looks simple. You can see it in the track map in the top right side of your screen. You know, it looks relatively simple. It doesn't have that many corners. It's lots of straights. But the issue comes into play with the fast corners. There's a lot of fast right-handers in this corner. It's a majority of the turns are right-hand corners. There's only a couple of left-hand corners, particularly in the chicanes. And so most of the time you're flicking through these very fast right-handers where you're not actually applying the brake, and instead you're just letting the car coast and just drop a little bit of speed just to balance that weight a bit more and get the car turned in. And so if you don't do that right, you could be seeing track limits seen, you could see rear ends slipping out, and so that's where the technical element comes into play. You need to really be on board with finding your car, and that's why it comes into a risk for someone like Jared Lees, who hasn't really gotten that practice in And as you can see it's reflected though to a 115.9. So usually we should see Jared Lees fighting up top there with Kitsumagia in the 114 range, but unfortunately without that practice being done, he's down to the 115s for the time being. So super unfortunate there for Jared Lees. Just trying to see. I do have a bind for that. Apologies. I got a little bit confused in the beginning of the stream trying to find my correct bind. For the time being, though, Vanna Jobert is also here. He's down in 21st, no lap time set. I did see Denise Jobert. I'm not too sure if she's still here. Might have disconnected a little bit earlier. But I think they might be joining us for the race. We'll see how that goes. I know Eddie also won't be racing tonight. He did mention he's rather just going to observe and make sure all is good. But we have officially reached overtime for qualifying. So this means it's the final lap for all of these drivers. They do not get another lap once crossing the line. And so for all those in pit lane, well, that's where you're going to sit for the time being. Kitsumagia, thankfully uncontested as of yet. Oratile got extremely close, though. That's a really good lap from Oratile's sake. And pushing up quite strong. Just trying to see why on earth. Yes, it would help if I put that on. Apologies. There we go. But we have officially reached the end of qualifying. And as you can see, the drivers are going to have a little bit of a stretch and a little bit of a relaxation just to get ready once more for the race. And Aratile just getting off of his rig over there. Going to go have a bit of a chat there, probably with Kitsumagia, who qualified P1 with a 114.7. But that is going to be your starting grid for the time being. We've got Kitsumagia starting P1 with a 114.7. Aratile Motswagotsele will take second, but Daniel Kent in third position. Carl Williams will also take fourth position with Christopher Long in fifth. Omar Khan will take sixth position, and Gio Sakia will take seventh position. Followed by Derek Truscott in 8th position, Vilji Truscott in 9th position, and Jared Leesk in 10th position. Jason Wright will take 11th with Ethan McDougall down in 12th. Ralph Schuster in 13th, unfortunately also arriving relatively late, so didn't get the best practice in here for tonight's race. Morgan Goodman down in 14th with Quincy Ungombeni, also a little bit further down in 15th. Sean Norse in 16th with Kat Kapari in 17th. Dean Jacobs in 18th, and Lim Chui in 19th position. Van Jobert is also here in 20th. I'm not too sure if he's racing with us, though, as he didn't set a lap time. So he's either going to be there at the back or he's not going to be in at all. One of the two. We've got about 15 or so seconds left, though, before we head to the grid. And then it's going to be a little bit of a countdown before we start this race. But for the time being, get those predictions ready because it's going to be a good one to see who can take this on. We saw a very competitive side to Jared Leesk, Carl Williams, Kitsumagia, and Gio Sakia also last week. I mean, we saw all of them having a very eventful week last week. I don't know if anybody saw them, but they were really going ham, especially, obviously, Gio having a little bit of contact with Carl Williams last week. And so we'll have to see how that goes for all of them. But for the time being, we are on the countdown before we start off this race. And we'll be back just before the starting lights. I see everybody just having a little bit of a step up and a breather. And so we'll be right back with you once we get to those starting lights. Don't go away, though. Go make something quickly to drink because the racing action will begin super shortly. Alrighty then, ladies and gentlemen, we are officially back here. We've got about 30 seconds left before we hit the checkered flag. Well, the other kind of checkered flag. The checkered flag that initiates the start of the race. And so for the time being, we're just waiting to see when that's going to happen. I see the lights are visible. And now our lights are... It's about to get to lights out, and away we go. We've got Aratile just a little bit further up in front. Gio's also there. It's 4 red lights, and it's lights out, and away we go. The drivers are off officially for this race. Apologies there. We're just double checking to make sure we are all good in terms of an issue we've been having. But give me 1 second. There we go. All right, cool. We should be good now. Apologies about that, everyone, but we are back. And currently on board with the likes of Aratile. Kitsomagia, though, is wide up in front. We've got loads of drivers off, though, coming through the first chicane. Kitsomagia holds onto it, though, neatly up into P1. Daniel Kent also just a little bit further behind, though, in second position. Aratile Matsogotsele just further behind in third position. Also just trying to make his way up into the top fighting pack. Christopher Long just holding off there in top 5. And Omar Khan just behind that entire pack with Gio Sakia, trying to keep involved. There are so many cars gone off there at the back. That might be one of the Liam Chui, not Liam Chui, that might be Kat Kapari. No, Kat Kapari is unfortunately very far back here tonight for this racing, but Kito Majera holds on front in first position. Oratile Matsogotsele, though, will hold in third position. You can see him in the bottom left side, holding on as much as he can. He's got Christopher Long, though, on his outside line, trying to make a way around him. And so he's got the pressure surrounding him for the time being. You can see there's an immense amount of focus on the man's face in the bottom left-hand side. So trying to push on. Keto Majia, though, sets the fastest lap time for the time being. It's a 4/10 gap already between himself and Daniel Kent. And so that's going to be the fight now between all of them. Carl Williams, though, is in a huge fight. He's got Vilji Truscott and Jared Leask all around trying to fight and find their way through this packet. Oh, it's over the curbs, and it's a bit of a bump there for Carl Williams. That looks like Jason Wright just making a little bit of contact. And oh, somebody's getting clipped, and that looks like somebody getting flicked off there. It's one of the Toyota Corollas, and oh, Jason Wright just making a little bit of a reading error there on his car. The Ford Focus just losing the rear. And remember, these are front wheel drive vehicles, and so the power is completely delivered to the front end. It does switch up as to how the power is delivered and how the car operates under braking and weight distribution. So remember that, though. Jason Wright is in a huge fight with, it looks to be, Ethan McDougall. That's Quincy Ngombeni. Morgan Goodwin is also just a little bit further behind there. He's also fighting for his life right now with Lim Choi just further behind him. And you can see there is so much action here at the TGN Pro Series of round number 5 at Thruxton. A very complicated circuit, and everybody just trying to get the comforting feel. We're already 3 minutes down, though, of racing here, and Morgan Goodwin holding on to the outside line. He's got Ralph Schuster, though, holding on as much as possible, coming into the chicane, and oh, there's contact, and oh, Morgan just not getting the rotation and hitting into the first billard. And oh my goodness, what a dangerous rejoin there, unfortunately, from Morgan Goodwin, making huge contact. You can just see him in the bottom corner, not happy with what's just happened. And that's really going to set him off for this race. Down to 90th he goes. He had loads of contact there, unfortunately. It looked to be Kat Kapari. No, Kat Kapari is still a little bit further behind. I believe Morgan Goodwin is now even further behind Kat Kapari. But there was a couple of bumps and shrubs there from Morgan Goodwin's car. He just could not get the car recovered and actually rejoined the track a little bit dangerously there. So we'll have to see what the stewards say about that one for Morgan Goodwin. Jared Leesfer is trying to make his way back up. He's down in 15th position and just not able to get up to where he needs to be, fighting as hard as possible. Sean Norse, though, in the I-30N, just with Ethan McDougall up in front. He's trying to chase the other I-30, but he's got Ralph Schuster as well as Carl Williams just behind there in the Toyota GR Yaris, trying to make his way past Hyundai's, and here he goes. First attempt up on the inside line of Ralph Schuster. Now chasing down on Sean Norse and coming into the next chicane section for these drivers. Let's see what they can do as they come into the hard braking for the next, and into the rotation they go, and it looks like Carl Williams is going to hold on here for this next lap and just coming onto the start-finish straight. Unfortunately, Ralph Schuster losing out a ton there and completely pushed away from this battle for 10th position. Carl Williams walking away with it now, and just on the backside there of Sean Norse, just a little bit further up in front of him, Ethan McDougall will unfortunately soon be under pressure here from the other drivers. You can see him very concentrated in the bottom left-hand side, and trying to make his way up in his i30N, but Kyle Williams is looking dangerously quick down in 10th position, chasing onto the back there of Ethan McDougall, and he's trying to chase down on Vilji Truscott just a little bit further up ahead. There's a good fight though with Aratile Motswagotsele just a little bit further behind Omar Khan, trying to make a way around that Ford Focus just a little bit further in front. Derek Truscott is also in this fight. Gio Sakia now trying to find a way around Aratile Motswagotsele just a little bit further behind. You can see a Gio Sakia in the red Honda, whereas Gio Sakia in the green Honda, I believe. And I actually just remembered now, we do have our driver here, Ralph Schuster, who does indeed have a cam on his rig. And so he was missed last week, but he is here this week to have a little bit of action up on the screen. Kitso Magia, 114.775. Incredible lap there from Kitso Magia, and he is absolutely running away with this race at this point. But Ralph is just trying to make it around and keep on pushing on strong. He was in that battle with Kyle Williams and just didn't get the turnaround that he really wanted. Aratile Motswagotsele still trying to fight it out hard though with Truscott and Ethan McDougall now just a bit behind. Ethan McDougall's actually lost out. Oh no, he hasn't. Sorry, Ethan McDougall trying to chase onto the fight in front of him. And that is indeed the fight with Aratile, Vilji, and Gio Sakia, who's now all the way at the front of this pack for this battle. And so Gio trying to hold on as strong as he can, but he's got Vilji Truscott putting a lot of pressure on from behind. Omar Khan is also just a little bit further ahead of Gio Sakia in 4th position. And so Gio's mission, try get away from Vilji Truscott, because as you can see, he's closing in slowly but surely, and Aratile is also getting closer and closer. Vilji Truscott right on the backside now onto the cockpit can. You can see it's getting a little bit dirty, and oh, there goes the chance. Unfortunately, Vilji Truscott, here comes Aratile around the outside with absolute ease. Unfortunately, Vilji Truscott taking a little bit too much grass on the exit there, and completely slowing his roll into the following corners. Easy overtake there for Aratile as he now traces back onto the backside of Gio Sakia, of the back bumper there, and Omar Khan just a little bit further in front, trying to hold on as much as he can, but great overtake from Aratile, making it neat and clean. And that's also given a good run for Ethan McDougall down in 9th position. He's going to be chasing onto the back of Vilji Truscott now, who's lost a little bit of his drive here due to that incident he just had. But Vilji, a little bit of a late break there, I believe, from Vilji Truscott, and completely missing the apex. Was that Aratile also missing the apex? And the fight is indeed on. That was actually Gio Sakia who missed his apex, and Aratile has gotten up in front of both of them now. Incredible work from Aratile, going from 8th all the way up to 6th position in the span of 3 or 4 corners, and now holding on to that front battle. Gio Sakia not happy about that one. He's lost out completely due to a braking error, and right on the backside of Gio Sakia is indeed Vilji Truscott, pushing on as strong as he can now. And guess who's just behind Vilji? It's Ethan McDougall, who's now made up a lot of time due to the incidents up in front. Kyle Williams has joined in on that battle as well, and he's just trailing on the backside of Ethan McDougall here, trying to get up towards this fight. The battle for 6 is definitely on here for these drivers. And so Ethan McDougall now with a lot of pressure. He's got that Corolla. Oh, and here comes the Corolla. Courageous dive there from Kyle Williams into the next corner, and it has indeed worked. Through the chicane he goes, and completely bypassing Ethan's car over there. The i30N just completely defenseless, and that is super unfortunate. Ethan McDougall's gone into the pit lane though. What has unfortunately happened over there? He's pulling the car in. He's very upset about that one. Not too sure what's happened there with Ethan McDougall. I think he might have made a bit of an error there. Did he possibly? Yeah, he's really upset there in the bottom left. What has happened to Ethan McDougall? Down in 17th position, he's pulled the car into the pit lane. I'm not too sure what's happened, and that's his fighting chance, unfortunately, over. Dean Jacobs down in 17th, though, is just trying to keep the car together. He's trying to catch up to Kat Kapari for the time being, but it's not looking too good for the time being. Jason Wright is also just a little bit further ahead, and with 10 minutes left to go, there's not much time for these drivers to do what they need to do. So Dean Jacobs really needs to start pulling a little bit more of a move on here if he wants to catch up to Kat Kapari in the next couple of laps. Morgan Goodwin, unfortunately, also not having the drive he desperately needed today, down in 18th position, just ahead of Ethan McDougall. So what has happened to Morgan Goodwin as well? I mean, he's down a couple of positions here tonight, and not what you want to see on a race like this. Race number 1 is quite important because it comes from those qualifying results, but thankfully he does have another 2 heats that he could possibly make up with. Liam Choi down in 13th, chasing onto the backside of Jared Leask, who's also just trying to catch up to Sean Norse in 11th position. Daniel Kento has taken the lead of this race. What's happened to Kitso Magia? He's obviously had an incident or something. I don't think he would have gone through to the pit lane. as this is a relatively short race. I mean, it's a 20-minute stint, and so there isn't really that need to come into the pit lane unless it is mandatory. But for the time being, Kitso Magia down in third position with Christopher Long now up into second, and Daniel Kent holding off the top slot for race number 1. Derek Truscott all the way down in fourth position, and Omar Khan is chasing on as hard as he possibly can. Oratile, though, is closing in on Omar Khan, and we've seen those lap times slowly but surely go faster and faster for Oratile, and he's closing down that gap with Gio Sakia giving a little bit of flash from behind, trying to get closer as he pushes on to the backside here of Oratile, who is also just trying to progress himself in the green Honda Civic and get up closer to Omar Khan and Derek Truscott. But unfortunately, they fight too hard. That's going to give a very clear entry there for Gio Sakia. Carl Williams, unfortunately, in a bit of a no man's land after we saw Ethan McDougall disappear into the pit lane, and so not the race he wanted at all. Ethan McDougall is fortunately out, so not too sure what happened there with him. Not sure why he came into the pit lane. It was possibly a bit of an error, and then he got control locked while being in the pit stop, and now he's back out on track, unfortunately down in 19th position. It's not what you want to see on a night like this, but unfortunately, that's the cards that's been played for him for the time being. I see loads of drivers coming in for the pit stop, so I think there definitely was a mandatory that has to be served. As we see, oh, what has happened there? Oh, thank goodness we've got ghosting going on. We've got somebody completely sideways in the pit lane, and that looks to be Carl Williams. What has happened to Carl Williams? He's down in 14th. He's lost everything here, completely sideways in the pit stop. I mean, the average loss in the pits is 20.28 seconds roughly. This is way longer for Carl Williams. What has happened to him? Ethan McDougall is going to catch up here. Fortunately for him, everybody else pitting, and up to 16th he goes. So he obviously went for the undercuts. I think that anger that we saw of Ethan McDougall was just not getting his pit stop clean as clean as possible, as we saw him have a bit of a mishap there going into the pit lane, and so just missing his pit box. That's a possible solution to our problem of not knowing what happened over there. But Lim Chui has gone up to 6th position. All the top drivers, though, haven't gone into the pit stop for the time being, so that could potentially have been what happened to Kitso. But I think he's only just gone in now. He's down to 8th position, and oh, almost getting slapped in the back there. I believe that was by the likes of Derek Truscott, who just comes winding past, I believe, behind the backside of Kitso Magia. And indeed it was Truscott almost just flooring it into the backside there of Kitso Magia. And with only 8 minutes left of racing, it is starting to get a little bit close for our drivers here. Daniel Kent will hold off in P1 in the Toyota Corolla, just trying to make his way around the track, but I believe he does still have a pit stop to his name. Oratile, though, doing an incredible job down in 3rd position over there, or not down in, actually up in 3rd position, and so he's done a great job here today to keep this car going. Not too sure if he's coming for his mandatory pit stop yet. I know we have the pit stop window screen that we can put on. I'm not too sure if how accurate it is, because as you can see, it's showing 0 across the board. And I don't think that is that's not what we're looking for exactly. Yeah, but as you can see, 114.9 is the fastest from Daniel Kent. I believe Kitso Magia is still holding strong with the 114.7 for the time being. But for everybody else, Liam Chui down in 5th position. I believe he still hasn't gone for that pit stop. And so Quincy Ngombeni down is also up to 6th position. He's also got a great drive over here for himself. He started quite back in this pack. I believe he started down at 19th, and eating a little bit too much grass there that the Toyota Corolla can handle, and so Quincy needs to watch out a little bit there. Sorry, we've still got Oratile up on our screens over there. Gio Sakia down in 10th position. He's in a bit of a fight now. I believe that's with Kitso Magia. Indeed it is. Kitso on the outside line of the likes of... No, I believe that's not Kitso Magia. Apologies. That is Omar Khan, who's fighting extremely hard with Gio Sakia, and through the chicane they go. A little bit of a bump and drop there from Omar Khan, just on the backside of Gio, as he keeps on flashing his headlights. I'm not too sure if he's got a misbinded item over there. He's been flashing them quite a lot. I'm not sure if it's maybe binded to his boost button that these cars have got with the curves, because we see that light flickering quite a lot. But here comes Omar Khan, slowly getting more and more aggressive and a little bit more impatient here on the backside of Gio Sakia. You can see trying to find every possible way around him, and this could potentially be his shot here in the BTCC car. Somebody's off on the left, and that looks to be Kitso Magia. No, it's not. I believe it might be one of the back markers, but just up in front here is Kitso Magia. Lots of fighting going on though behind, because Gio Sakia with Omar Khan and Sean Norse is also in this fight potentially if he continues on strong here, as he tries to keep it out on track. Omar Khan though is still trying to hold on as much as he can. Oratile has gone down unfortunately to 13th position here, and I believe that's just after his pit stop. Down into 13th he goes. Ethan McDougall also down into 14th position. As you can see over here, he's talking to somebody next to him. Just not happy with what's happening in this race currently. Down in 14th position. Doesn't look like the happiest driver out there. Trying to hold on strong down in 14th position. Ethan, obviously, one of the staff here at TGN. Always ensuring that the drivers are ready to race. And he'll always jump in that rig last. Ensuring that everybody else is ready to race. So props to Ethan over there. But Kat Kapari and Jason Wright a little bit further down. I believe these two are fighting quite hard. Kat Kapari chasing down onto the backside of Jason Wright. And where is Morgan Goodman? Unfortunately, not having the race he wanted. We've spoken about him a couple of laps prior, but now with only 5 minutes left, it does not look like the pit stops helped him whatsoever. He's down in 17th position still, unfortunately, and that's not going to play to an advantage here for his racing here tonight in 17th. But thankfully for him, there is a bit of a flip grid there, and he'll be able to convert that for race number 2 possibly. Ralph Schuster also in 12th position, just trying to keep the car as clean as possible, and in the Hyundai i30N, trying to get up into that top 10. Thankfully for this, there is points all the way up from first down to 15th position, so still on the points here for Ralph Schuster for that grand prize. Remember, there is only 8 rounds of the TGN Pro Series, and so this is round 5. We unfortunately only started doing the commentary broadcasts from the middle of the series, which is about at round 4. But at round 5 of here, we've got Ralph Schuster with just 3 rounds left to go. So he's going to have to keep on pushing here with the points. Thankfully, he is going to get points here, like I mentioned, because he's in the top 15. But it's not going to be the maximum amount of points that he could possibly getting at tonight. Ketso Magia, though, is right on the backside of Derek Truscott. I believe that's Derek Truscott. Indeed it is. And as well for the likes of Gio Sakia and Omar Khan just a little bit further behind. And this could potentially turn into a fight. The battle for 3rd position. And oh, what's going on at the back there? That looks like Gio Sakia all over the place. And he's trying absolutely everything in the book to keep Omar Khan at bay. But it might not be enough. Omar Khan is now right on the backside of Gio Sakia, like he has been a couple of laps before. And just trying to get around his car now. Just on the front bumper here. I mean, you can see how close he keeps on getting to Gio. He takes a little bit of a different line compared to Gio. And once again, check on the outside line he goes. Where is this going to be for Omar Khan as they come down? Omar Khan holding on the outside line and boom, up onto the entry over there. A great overtake on Gio Sakia. Not much Gio could do over there. Now having to sit dormant behind Omar Khan. Can they catch up, though, to the battle in front, which is Derek Truscott and Kitso Magia? Derek Truscott jumps up onto the inside line here, and on the front left bumper, he's cleared completely. You can see in the back mirror there is Kitso Magia, who's going to be a little bit upset there. Just on the backside, you can see him trying his absolute best to keep on going as they keep on trying to get themselves into a position for fighting. Kitso Magia trying to get himself back up into 3rd position. He's just been taken out of the podium slot, and that's where the points are absolutely juicy, and now not in that position whatsoever at the moment to get the points that he really does need. So super unfortunate for him. But Daniel Kent has been completely uncontested for this race since he took lead. 5 seconds between himself and Christopher Long, and that's what he's going to remain for the time being. 2 minutes left of this race. It's roughly 2 laps depending on when he crosses, and Christopher Long also in a bit of a no man's land. Nobody able to catch him just of yet. You can see it in your top right. Christopher Long is the yellow blip in 2nd. Daniel Kent is the purple blip or pink blip in 1st. And all the way there in 3rd is the likes of Derek Truscott. There's a back marker just a little bit further up in front of them. I believe that might be Carl Williams. Oh, Carl Williams actually in the pit lane. And there we've got Morgan Goodwin down in 17th. Unfortunately, just not having that race. Like we've already spoken about, down in 17th position as they keep on going around. For the time being, though, Dean Jacobs also not having the race he wanted, and oh, he's off, unfortunately. Dean Jacobs into the grass he goes here. You can see he's disappointed in the bottom left over there. Not the race he'd wanted here today, down in 18th. The good news is for him, like we saw in round 4, he is going to be flipped for race number 2, and he will have the positive side of it. And so we'll have to see what Dean Jacobs can do with those, with that position and that opportunity at hand. Can he keep it up in front, or will he be booted down by the Foster drivers? Ethan McDougall now up into 11th. He's thankfully managed to recover this drive a little bit in 11th position. He's got Ralph Schuster just a little bit further up ahead, who is also just trying to keep this drive going. And as you can see, taking that corner, a lot of steering ratio there for Ralph Schuster. As you can see, he's leaning his whole body into this car, trying to keep it going in 10th position. So apologies, we're still on board there with Ethan McDougall. Ralph Schuster just a little bit further behind. Aratilia Motogotselo is also pushing extremely hard here to keep his car at bay. And on the backside of Jared Leask, will it be enough though to get ahead. Jared Lees just in front here of the likes of Aratile Matogotsele. And it might not be enough because we've only got 35 seconds left of racing here. Vilji Truscott in 7th with Omar Khan in 6th position. Gio Sakia has managed to pull away here from Omar Khan, it looks like, as Omar Khan completely slipped down to 6th position here. And so the fighting has settled a little bit. And he's trying to push onto the backside of Derek Truscott here, who's also completely fallen off once again from Kitso Magia, who's taken 3rd position and will look to keep it here with 10 seconds left of racing. And so Kitso really doing well over here. 14 seconds though, unfortunately, behind Daniel Kent. And that is what the leader is seeing behind him, is a good 5.9 seconds. But as you can see on the top of the screen, leader is officially on the final lap here for race number 1, heat 1 of the TGN Pro Series, round 5 here at Thruxton. And once again, a massive thank you to MasterDrive for the grand finale prize of the 8th round. That will go to the overall season winner. Christopher Long, though, in 2nd position, and Kitso Magia in 3rd. And Daniel Ken now on the final lap. You can see him on the track map in your top right. He's slowly starting to come towards that finish line, the checkered flag. He is on the back straight, though, as he continues to push that Toyota Corolla to its absolute limits here. The number 22 just trying to make it work. But through the final chicane, he comes tackling every curb with absolute strength and might. And it looks like it's going to be for the books over here for Daniel Kent coming across the line. We're sweeping all over the place. It's Daniel Kent who will take P1 here tonight, and Christopher Long will follow up to take 2nd position. Great work from the boys here at the TGN Pro Series. Kitso Magia will take 3rd position, though, after fighting hard with Derek Truscott, who will take 4th. Gio Sakia will come across the line in 5th. Omar Khan not able to get past in 6th. And Vilji Truscott taking 7th. Jared Leesk a little bit further behind, and there's a little bit of fighting coming down towards the line. Who's it going to be? Jared Leesk will just take it from Aratile, with Ralph Schuster taking 10th position. Ethan McDougall will also come across. He's a little bit further behind, as we have a couple of back markers still coming through over here. But Ethan McDougall climbing over those curbs and mounting the car as best as possible. And here he comes for 11th position. Over the line he goes. An incredible work there. Liam Choi will come across in 13th position, a little bit further down. And in 14th, we've got Sean Norse. 14th, Quincy Ngobeni down there. As we can see him just in 15th, and Jason Wright in 16th position. Kat Kapari will come across in 17th. Morgan Goodwin coming through the chicanes, looking to be one of the last drivers, unfortunately, as Dean Jacobs a little bit further has still got an entire lap left to go here. And so this is going to be one slow lap as everybody else climbs off their rigs. You can see somebody already in his camera looking at his racing, as he's got an entire lap. Super unfortunate timing. I believe he came across the line to start his final as soon as Daniel Kent started his last lap, and just not enough there for the likes of Dean Jacobs. Completely off the gravel he goes, and it looks like he's actually just going to pull the car in and retire it here for this race. But what a race number 1 we had. Everybody off the rigs having a bit of a chat and seeing how that race went. And so it's a great win for Daniel Kent. He'll be in a good flip here for the start. Well, he'll be in a bad flip, actually, for race number 2, as it'll be reversed. But for the likes of Kyle Williams and Dean Jacobs, they'll be starting on the front row in race number 2. So stay tuned. We're going to go away for a little bit as the drivers have a bit of a relaxer, get the legs stretched a bit, have a bit of a chat about what they felt in that race. And then we'll be back with race number 2 live here on the TGN Racing Simulators YouTube and Twitch channels. Choose your platform. They're both there. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe and a possible follow on Twitch if you are enjoying the content and the hyper racing that is provided here at TGN Racing Simulators. We'll see you just now for race number 2. Alrighty then, and we are officially back for the start of race number 2. Like we mentioned, Dean Jacobs will be taking pole, and unfortunately, just to get our everything sorted correctly, Dean Jacobs, like we mentioned, will be starting on pole position there. And oh, looks like people weren't ready. What happened over there? As we've had to restart over here. Everybody a little bit confused. We'll just switch back to our main camera over here. Not too sure what happened. We've had to reset, and oh, that's why we've had a driver unfortunately experience a bit of a disconnect over there. And so we'll have to wait, unfortunately, another couple of minutes here. And as you can see on the stream right now, one of the drivers just PC having a bit of a crash, and not the greatest thing to see. But thankfully, we do have admin tools here to get those PCs back up and running, and also not allowing the server to keep on running, just to keep the advantage fair for everybody. Just to go over our prize for the end of the season, though, as well as a bit of a championship standings before this race, as I've actually only been mentioning the MasterDrive stuff. We've got a couple of other things as well provided by TGN for the Master Series. And so that would be that the winner of this entire series obviously will get the MasterDrive Advanced Driving Experience, but an additional 5,000 Rand from TGN Racing Simulators as a prize for coming first. Second will get 3,000 Rand. And third place will get 2,000 Rand. So all the top three, if you get in the top three there for the end of the season, I mean, that's a good amount of cash to grab just from sim racing. I mean, that also just shows how the scene has evolved in terms of what you can grab from racing over here. And then we've also got a lucky draw prize, and that is a MasterDrive defensive driving experience, which is completely out of luck for all the people who attend, or all the people participating in the Master Series. So unfortunately, if you're a spectator from the outside, that you do not qualify for that, but all the drivers here tonight and in Western Province will have a chance to qualify for that. Looking at our championship standings, just for the top three, though, before going into this round, and it's Christopher Long who holds P1 at the time being with 167 points to his name. Jared Leask has got 139 points, so we obviously have seen him fighting it out previously in previous races, but tonight he'll start a little bit further back than he wishes to start. I believe he's actually starting up in third position or somewhere higher tonight. We'll have to see where that goes for race number 2. And then Gio Sakia in third place with 136 points between just on his name over there in third position. So it's a 3-point gap to second. And then unfortunately, it's quite a long way up to Christopher Long on 167. It's quite a difference from 139. So he's holding the majority of the lead for the time being. So good stuff there from our drivers. And we look to see what they can do in race number 2. Remember, race number 2 is our completely reversed grid. So if you finished in last in race number 1, so for the likes of Dean Jacobs, he'll be starting up in P1, as well as Morgan Goodwin, who will be starting in P2. He obviously was a little bit further down there, and he'll be starting off quite strong. You can actually see it on the displays over there. Morgan Goodwin has a completely clean line there to the bottom right side of your screen. And he's got a pretty good run in to try and get ahead of Dean Jacobs going into turn number 1. So we'll see what he can do, though, as it's all going to come down to how they tackle turn number 1. And a little bit of information also on our track limits and collisions. So if a driver experiences 4 track cuts or more, they'll get a 75 kilogram ballast for 2 laps, which additionally adds 75 kilograms to the car, making it very heavy and sluggish and a little bit harder to drive to be served as a penalty. And the same with the collisions. So after 5 collisions, 75 kilos of ballast for 1 lap. And any intentional collisions will be a 30-second race penalty. That'll be a post-race review. So lots of penalties up over here. And the tire rule, the tire wear is at 280%, but there is no compulsory act to get those changed. There is no mandatory stop, apparently. And the fuel strategy is determined by the driver. And so, like it has been said, exactly like that. But from previous round at Silverstone, we obviously saw Carl Williams taking the overall result win over there. And so let's see what he can do here tonight for race number 2. He had a little bit of a shocky one there in race number 1, but it is time to redeem himself. Race number 2, the reverse grid based on race number 1. And then we go to our final round, our final race, which is race number 3, and that being the complete chaos grid, completely randomized starting order. And so definitely keep your eye on that one, because that's going to be an interesting one to watch as we just wait now for the countdown to keep on going. I've tried to keep it alive here instead of cutting off, as it's a little bit too short of a wait here. But for the time being, the drivers are now officially ready once more. We are counting down now to the start of this race and just about to get started over here. Our lights have officially been displayed. And I'm board with Dean Jacobs starting off this race. Hyper-focus there in the front line. What can Dean Jacobs do for the start of this race? The lights are out. It's 4 red lights. And it's lights out, and away we go for the second race start here. Dean Jacobs will start off strong, though, in P number 1. What can he do, though, on that cockpit cam for Dean Jacobs? Where is he? And oh, that is not Dean Jacobs. Apologies. Dean Jacobs in P number 1, holding off as strong as he can. And once again, we're just going to have a quick swap around, and we'll be back shortly. There we go. We are officially back and ready to go as we just try and get a hold of Dean Jacobs. And Dean Jacobs currently on board. As you can see, actually managed to hold the lead here for the start of this race. Holding off neatly strong, and Kat Kapari just a little bit further up in front, just behind him over there, but it's a long line. Morgan Goodwin also just trying to hold on as much as he can. He's now in 3rd position. Jason Wright, though, is just a little bit further behind, as well as Sean Norse and Louis Tui. So watch out for those, as all the BTCC cars are stacked together here at the start of this race. And this is going to provide for a good amount of action coming through the next couple of corners. But oh, Kat Kapari already making the moves there on Dean Jacobs. And it looks like he's lost out, unfortunately, there. Dean Jacobs falls behind into 2nd position. Trying to hold on to it, though. Let's go on board with him to see how he holds on. And as you can see, it's getting extremely close for the likes of Dean Jacobs. And he's going to get past. Kat Kapari will have to tuck in behind. He's trying to hold on to the outside line, but Dean Jacobs just not letting it happen. Oh, a little bit of a bump and shrug there. Kat Kapari giving to Dean Jacobs, and as you can see, was not happy about that one. Oh, and there's huge chaos into the chicane. What has happened over there? My goodness, there is multiple cars involved in that, and almost everybody receiving a bit of a downtime experience over there. Everybody just trying to tackle the chicane all at once and losing out majorly. Carl Williams looked like he was involved in that one, and everybody else thankfully managed to get recovered quite neatly. For the time being, Carl Williams, oh, it's all over the place. There's a couple of bumps from the TCRs, and oh, there's huge contact. I believe that might be Gio Sakia, and indeed it is. Gio Sakia spun around over there, down into 16th position, and completely losing out his drive over here tonight, down into 19th. What happened to Gio Sakia? Morgan Goodwin trying to hold on strong over there. You can see trying to get himself scratched. He's got a little bit of an itchy head over there as he keeps on fighting strong. Looks like he's got not Aratile, sorry, that's Morgan Goodwin fighting on. I believe that's Quincy Ungombeni, who's just all around him, trying to make up those moves. And what can they do coming into these next couple of corners? But there we have Quincy Ungombeni, Sean Norse. Morgan Goodwin is just in the middle of that fight in his Ford Focus, trying to get around and do what he can. Aratile, though, is up into 8th position, so great drive from him as he continues to push there in his car. The green Honda Civic, and coming on, oh, a little bit of a nose cut there from Aratile as he comes into the chicane. Everyone just trying to tuck in now and find their way through the chicane. The fastest lap, though, for Kat Kapari, and he's got a good hold off, though. From what we see, Kitso Magia is one of the faster drivers here. He's stuck, though, behind in traffic, down in 5th position. Down in 13th position. Daniel Kent, though, will take the fastest lap, and he's already up there into 5th position. Daniel Kent obviously taking the win in the previous race, number 1, and now already up there contesting in P5. So incredible work there for Daniel Kent to make his way up, and now already contesting Carl Williams for P number 4. Jason Wright also needs to be worried because they're just in front. Dean Jacobs is unfortunately under immense pressure. You can see him in the bottom left, and Jason Wright is right on the back side of him. It's right on right over there as Dean Jacobs trying to hold on as much as he can, but Wright is getting closer and closer each lap, and you can see it there for Jason Wright as he is now right alongside the likes of Dean Jacobs. And oh, almost a little bit of a nose cut there from Dean Jacobs as he gets a little bit close for comfort. Jason Wright, thankfully, no contact over there. Daniel Kent is all over the grass, though, and it's almost 4 wide coming into the chicane. This could almost turn bad. What's going to happen for this fighting? And oh, it's 4 wide coming into the chicane from the helicam. Let's have a look at this, and oh, everybody keeping it neatly tucked in and clean. Almost a bit of a barrier tap there from Daniel Kent as he now pushes Omar Khan wide. That's not Omar Khan, that's unfortunately Daniel Kent who's been pushed out and just not getting the run that he oh so desperately needs. And now falling behind, Omar Khan is now into this fight now and catching up to the backside of Daniel Kent. Aratile is also going to slowly start to catch up here in this fight in 8th position. So let's see what Aratile can do once he starts to catch up, because it's all haywire up in front. And oh, there's contact once again. I believe that's Vilji Truscott just jumping over the curbs over there, and everybody trying to find their way around. and gain the benefit of the doubt over here, but it's not going to work like that in BTCC racing, especially around a track like Thruxton. You need to keep yourself clean and in clean air over here, but it's not happening for any of these drivers. Everybody under so much congestion. Dean Williams, though, has been resilient in his position up in third, and he's held off that final podium spot like an absolute champion. He is so ready and willing to keep himself going here for the remainder of this race. And oh, a little bit of a lockup for Dean Jacobs, and now he's under immense pressure from Daniel Kent, who's on the outside and now going to transfer into the inside for the next corner. And Dean Jacobs, a double loss potentially over here, because Omar Khan is now alongside him. On board though with Omar, looks like he has to tuck in just behind Dean Jacobs, and Omar just not getting the overtake done. Daniel Kent managed to get it done, so Omar losing out from Daniel Kent. Kyle Williams comes in with the fastest, and Daniel Kent one-ups it once more. Up into third, Christian Long will take the fastest now as he's progressing up into the standings. And remember, Christian Long has got the championship standing lead at the moment. He is currently in contention for that grand prize of 5,000 Rand and the advanced driving experience from MasterDrive, if he can keep this up. But unfortunately, down in 11th, he's going to need to pick up pace here to get up towards that top 5 if he wants all those points that he desperately needs. Ethan McDougall, though, down in 17th position, and he's also just trying to keep himself intact. What has happened to Ethan McDougall? And he's fallen off, unfortunately, quite a little bit over here, as we would expect to see him fighting quite a little bit higher up here, but unfortunately for the time being, it's not working out. Morgan Goodwin, though, just a little bit further up in front, and this is where the likes of Ethan McDougall is chasing on, trying to find a way around. But what has happened to Oratile Motogotela? I believe he might have come into the pit stop, because he is in complete no man's land. I mean, if you look at your radar, your track map in the top right, Oratile, 19th position, is completely by himself for the time being. And everybody else, as you can see in the green and pink, leading this race so far away from him. And so he can just actually breathe a little bit here in the serenity of Thruxton Raceway. It's actually a very nice track when you're not under massive threat all the time, and that's what Oratile is currently doing. So coming in for an early pit stop could potentially be a strategy. Kitsomagia also comes in now for his pit stop and pulls that car in, but further behind though, as they keep on fighting, Christopher Long is slowly but surely making up a couple of positions from the drivers, getting those pit stops done and dusted. Derek Truscott up into 8th position is also trying to make his way around with Vilji Truscott. Not too sure if they're related. I don't want to make any assumptions or predictions because it's dangerous in this day and age, but for the time being, Vilji Truscott and Derek Truscott, 7th and 8th respectively, chasing on behind Dean Jacobs, who unfortunately started P1, has lost out all the way down to P number 5 now. He's managed to he's holding off though from Ralph Schuster, who's also gotten himself all the way up, and Ralph Schuster getting a little bit tired over there. You can see not the most amount of energy in that tank as he continues to fight around, and in an immense amount of pressure here between the rest of the drivers. And oh, it's a little bit of bumping there to the right hand side of Ralph Schuster. That's Derek Truscott, I believe, getting a little bit argy-bargy there with another driver as they come into the chicane. Where are they all going to land up? Through the chicane they go, and oh, Dean Jacobs has completely missed his braking point, and where has he gone? He's had to unfortunately let people past. Not going to be happy about that one. You can see the disappointment there on his face after that one, and not going to be what you want. Christopher Long, though, looking for the overcut, has now decided to come into the pit lane and get it done and dusted. Gio Sakia, though, is also finding his way back up into the top 10, fighting around Jason Wright and Sean Norse, who's just a little bit further behind. Morgan Goodwin now is also back into the fighting chances over here, and just behind the likes of Sean Norse. This could be a little bit of action for himself with Gio Sakia a little bit further up in front. We know Gio, a little bit of an aggressive driver, and so it could be a little bit of fun here for Morgan Goodwin. We've seen him in a little bit of a no man's land for the time being in race number 2, so this would be a good fighting chance for him, and as well as a chance to get further up into the top 10 if you can get ahead of Gio Sakia. For the time being though, all he can hope for is more and more fighting between Gio Sakia and Sean Norse, as Norse is getting closer and closer to the backside of Gio Sakia. They're all even Stevens at the time being. None of them have pitted yet, and so this is an even fight for the time being. But oh, Morgan Goodwin getting very close to the backside of Sean Norse, who made a bit of an error through the previous corner, and now pushing on strong from the Ford Focus. What can he do with the work that he's done here, and getting very close up to the backside now of Sean Norse. You can see him looking, trying to find a way around, but just not enough, and having to tuck in. But where can he go? A little bit of a lock up there from Sean Norse, and it's not going to be what you want. But oh, in goes Sakia, and all that fighting that they tried to do to get behind Sakia has been unfortunately wasted as Sakia pulls into the pit lane. Daniel Kent, though, back into the lead of race number 2. I mean, we already saw this guy winning race number 1, and now all the way up into the start here of race number 2. Carl Williams a little bit further behind. Kitso Majia is starting to slowly come and fight his way back up, but he's down in 14th, unfortunately. Carl Williams up into 2nd. Omar Khan also a little bit further down in 3rd. And Kat Kapari, who was fighting in 2nd with Dean Jacobs, has lost a couple of positions to the Foster guys as well. Derek and Vilji Truscott also fighting strong as much as they can in the Cupra, and just trying to do as much work as they can. Ralph Schuster, though, is holding on. As we mentioned, Ralph looking a little bit tired yet tonight. We saw him rubbing his eyes already, and let's hope that doesn't affect his driving as he gets closer and closer to the Truscott twins, the Truscott trio over there. But a little bit off goes Ralph Schuster, and grabbing a little bit of grass there in his Hyundai. Not what you want to see in the BTCC cars. Thankfully, they can handle it. It's not like an F1 car that just dies on impact with grass, but it's still not good for these cars. Ethan McDougall down in 13th position, trying to fight onto the backside of Liam Choi, and Kitso Majia just a little bit further on behind him. Oratile is also down in 15th. Ethan McDougall will try and keep up where he is, and Liam Choi will keep in 12th. But for the time being, Oratile Motsogotsele down in 15th position. He's over the chicanes, he goes in his Honda, and almost exceeding a little bit of a track limit there. But this is now the time to shine for Oratile Motsogotsele. We saw him pit way earlier on in this race, and now this is his time to make up a couple of positions. You can see already all the way up almost into the top 10 as most of the drivers start circulating and coming in for those pit stops. And so this could be fine work from Oratile if he keeps it up. But for the time being, Morgan Goodwin has also done an incredible job. I'm not too sure if he's come in for that pit stop just yet. And unfortunately, the HUD system we are using is not too accurate with that display. But currently fighting so hard with Sean Norris. And I mean, on that cockpit camera, this is directly what Morgan is experiencing. It correlates well with his camera in the bottom left as well, because this is exactly what he's seeing down on the... and a little bit of a slip up there for Sean Norris, almost losing the backside of that I-30N, and Morgan Goodwin just trying to make up for all the mistakes that Norris has been making. This could be beneficial for him if he can keep it up. For the time being, down in 17, Jacobs has made his way, thankfully still keeping up in the 5th position, but he was obviously up in 1st position. After the pit stops, he has moved up back up to 5th, but unfortunately once he gets those stops in, he will go back down. He's up back into 3rd as Schuster comes into the pit lane. I heard a little bit of screaming there down there on the deck. Not too sure who was screaming. Don't see anybody off. I see Ralph Schuster coming into the pit lane now, and out he comes. I don't see anybody off though. I did hear the screaming down on the floor here at TGN Racing Center in Johannesburg. But looks like everybody's all right for now. Potentially a bit of a pit error that we might be hearing down on the floor. Jared Lees, though, is not having the race he needs tonight. He's 2nd in the championship and all the way down in 16th position. This is not what he wants. I hear more screaming down on the floor. I'm not too sure who that is. It's definitely not Dean Jacobs. It might be Jared Lees. Fortunately, we don't have a camera with him, but somebody is getting very frustrated down there as we can hear them, but not able to identify it for the time being. And Ethan McDougall has come out of the pit lane. He's now behind me as well. Not too sure why he's pulled himself out. But for the time being, that is his race over. Kat Kapari will hold off in P1. And Daniel Kent has come into the pit lane now, which means it's all up for grabs at this point. But Dean Jacobs has been with ultimate focus. It's the 2nd time now he's missed the braking point through the chicane, and it's not looking good for him here. Remember that the more and more track points he gets, that could be a ballast added to his name. But into the pit lane, he jumps. Obviously not feeling too comfortable in that car. Oratile, though, up into 6th now, and the undercut has worked extremely strong here for the Pro Series driver. He pitted a couple of laps back and was in a complete no man's land, and now all the way up into 4th, contesting for the podium over here. He's got Carl Williams just a little bit further up in front, but Derek Truscott is not going to make it easy for him down in 5th position. What can they do, though, coming into these last final 6 minutes of racing over here? Derek Truscott right onto the backside of Oratile, and you can see it on the live cams, just behind the Honda Civic and looking for a gap, finding his way around, but it's not enough. And Oratile, playing the complete defensive game over here, will shut him down through the chicanes and losing his speed. But Oratile taking a little bit too much of the right-hand side of the track and almost eating a little bit of grass there, and that's an opportunity for Derek to make his way back up to the backside of Oratile. What can he do, though, in these final spanning minutes here? With 5 minutes left, he's under immense pressure and could lose out on 4th position if he's not careful. Derek Truscott, Omar Khan, just a little bit further behind, slowly starting to close in here and break down the gap. And into the chicane is often where we see those positions being made. So on board once again with Truscott. What can he do around Oratile? And Oratile just holding such a defensive line, almost getting forced into the barrier over there. That could have been tragic for Derek, but look who's on the backside now. It's Omar Khan, who's found a way around after Derek getting a very poor run out of the chicane, has lost out immensely, and now here comes Omar Khan for a fighting chance into the top 5 with 5 minutes left. This is exactly what you want in a race, and this is great stuff here for Omar Khan. Vilji Truscott will also attempt to join into this battle. It's not going to be enough though if he cannot get closer in the next couple of minutes. But for the time being, it is so much pressure between Truscott as well as Omar Khan, just a little bit further up in front. And thankfully for Oratile, who's still on our cams, you can see him there just in front. He's completely pulled away here from this battle, and this is great for him because it means with 4 minutes left, holding 4th position, the threat behind him is slowly beginning to dissipate because Omar Khan under so much pressure now to keep that position, and Derek Truscott has made his way back up into top 5, and this is the fight of the century for the time being, out on track. Everybody else relatively spaced out, and our race leader Liam Chui has come into the pit lane. Daniel Kento will take it back depending on how long it takes for Liam Chui. He's still completely stagnant in the pit lane for the time being. Ralph Schuster though down in 9th. Let's have a look at his tide levels. We saw him rubbing his eyes just now. He wasn't doing too great. He looks a little bit better now, but still struggling out there. You can see there's a little bit of tiredness building up there for the driver as he tries to build up into the top 10. He's managed to get himself squealed up there through all the pit stops. I'm not too sure if he's made his pit stop yet, but if he has, that's great news because he's up at the 7th position just behind Omar Khan. And what can they do through these next couple of minutes? But for the time being, it is Ralph Schuster holding 7th. Gio Sakia, one of the more aggressive drivers out here in the TGN Pro Series, down in 8th position. It hasn't been the greatest pit stop cycle for him, as we saw him pit quite a bit earlier, attempting the undercut, but now down in 8th position, and a couple of drivers getting the advantage over him. Where's Morgan Goodman though? He's down in 15th position, and it's not the race that he wanted. We saw him up there in 6th position, but unfortunately after the pit stops, and I can already see from that blue car, I can only know one driver who drives that blue car, and that is Mr. Dean Jacobs, who holds down in 13th now, unfortunately falling off the packing running order over here. That's Jared Leask. Apology. There's Dean Jacobs, as we saw him just falling off the track there, and now under immense pressure because Christopher Long now fighting as hard as possible with him. Morgan Goodwin has also joined in on the fight and trying to get closer and closer to the backside of Dean Jacobs. Oh, and that looks like Quincy Ngombeni, who's eating a little bit of grass there for tonight's dinner. And the Yaris now, that radiator is going to be running hot on the front end side. You do not want all that grass stuffing you up this late into the race. With 2.5 minutes left to go, Quincy Ngombeni, unfortunately, not much he can do here in this remaining time span to get into that points position. Down in 17th, he just misses out on the top 15 there, 4 points in race number 2. Jared Leesfo will run in 13th, which means he does get a couple of points here tonight, but it's not going to be enough to keep himself in 2nd in the championship. He needs to get a couple better results running here for himself. Dean Jacobs, we see them mingling a lot out on the floor, so obviously friends, Dean Jacobs and Jared Lees, and now behind him trying to get back up to where he was. Dean Jacobs obviously starting P1 in this race with the reverse grid order being intact, but now down into 14th. It has not been the race he wanted. We've seen him miss the chicane a couple of times yet today, and it just has not played into his favor here. So down into 14th he goes for Dean Jacobs, and that looks like where he's going to be for the remainder of this race. Oratile though will hold 5th position, and his undercut has really worked, but oh no for Oratile, because Omar Khan has come with a striking blow and takes away 4th position. Into 4th goes Omar Khan, and Oratile will now have to fight it out and keep that top 5. Thankfully, it's Ralph Schuster just a little bit further behind, who's not in a fighting chance yet, as he's still got Vilji Truscott down in 7th, who has to fight him out here. So this could be a battle for 6th, coming into the final minute here of racing at the TGN Pro Series, round number 5, race number 2. We've got one more left after this, so don't you dare thinking about leaving after this one, because the next one is heat number 3, the Chaos race. And if you haven't experienced the previous 2 nights of racing, it's already been chaotic. So imagine race number 3. But for the time being, Ralph Schuster is under so much pressure from Vilji Truscott. There's bumps being delivered from Vilji as he tries to get past Ralph, who's playing the defensive card, the number 1 Alonso over here, trying to make his way. And Gio Sakia, a little bit of grass for him as well, bouncing all over the place, and also just not having the drive tonight. I mean, we saw Gio Sakia having a great night 2 weeks ago at the TGN Pro Series round number 4 at Silverstone, but just not experiencing it tonight. I spoke to him after race number 1, and he said he was really struggling with Thruxton over here, and a couple of the other drivers also just saying it has not been a race here at Thruxton. It's been a very technical circuit. The BTCCs on the front wheel drive have really had a bit of a struggle out here. And so for those drivers who have shown their experience and their resilience, like Daniel Kent, who for the second race now tonight looks to be taking pole position, it really does show that practice does pay off for some of these drivers. Carl Williams will also take second position over here as he traces down on Daniel Kent, but it's not going to be enough. You can see the interval between the two drivers is 9 seconds of a gap between Daniel Kent and Carl Williams, so definitely not enough. And as you can see on the top of your screen, once more, the leader is officially on his final lap. Aratilia, though, will hold on in 5th position and keep on trying to push on. Ralf Schuster is not going to have enough. I almost want to say Ralf Schumacher just because of how the name looks, and that would have been a sick surname for himself. He would be following an F1 legend, but just a little bit of an abbreviation there for Schuster from Schumacher, but still pushing on strong. I mean, great race there from Schuster to keep himself in 6th position, and Vilji Truscott has now backed away completely, it looks like. So it might be the time here for Ralf Schuster to take 6th position in this race. Daniel Kent, though, coming around, as you can see on your track map, through the final chicane where we've seen a couple of drivers miss their braking points, and getting squabbly on the exit over there for Daniel Kent. It doesn't matter, though. He's got like no risk whatsoever. And as you can see, coming across the line for race number 2, it's Daniel Kent in P1 once again here tonight for race number 2. Carl Williams, though, will follow up strong in 2nd position here and will take that P number 2 on the podium. Derek Truscott, after an inaugural race of fighting hard with Omar Khan and Aratile, takes 3rd position. Omar Khan will take 4th, and Aratile will take 5th. Ralf Schuster will come across once again over here. As you can see, in 6th position, Gio Sakia will take 7. He had a bit of an eventful race as well. Kat Kapari will take 8th, with Kitso Magia just not getting the recovery drive through the traffic down in 9th. Christopher Long will take 10th. Jared Leask will take 11th, with Jason Wright down in 12th. Morgan Goodwin will take 13th position here tonight. Dean Jacobs, 1st position, down to 14th, unfortunately, for himself. Sean Norse, after having a huge amount of fighting as well tonight, just not landing up where he wanted to be. Quincy Ngombeni in 16th, with Vilji Truscott down in 17th. What's happened to him? He was fighting up strong there with Ralf Schuster, now down to 17th. So not too sure what's happened to him. But Liam Choi down in 18th. Ethan McDougall also, unfortunately, DNFing from this race and pulling out early. But that has been race number 2 for all of you fans here at TGN Racing Simulators. A couple of the drivers hopping off the rig and just having a bit of a breather, as we'll have a bit of a lobby reset for race number 3, our Chaos race. So stay tuned. Race number 3, another 20-minute dash, but with a mixed grid. So you do not want to miss out. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe, and be back in about 10 or so minutes. And we'll bring you all the action live here for race number 3 of the TGN Pro Series, round number 5. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. For all of those who decided to stay, well, welcome into the final round, final race, sorry, of round number 5 here at Thruxton. We're here at heat number 3, race number 3 at the random chaos grid order, and the drivers are getting lined up and ready. You can see them just down there on the grid, on the floor, sorry, not the grid, just getting ready to get started. Just one more thing. I mean, if you're excited by all that you're seeing here tonight, if you're excited and you think that it's such a cool thing seeing all the guys down here on floor, then don't feel ashamed to come and give it a try. I mean, if you're based in Joburg or if you're based in Joburg or Cape Town, there's 2 centers available in both. One in Cape Town, one in Joburg, one in Randburg, and then one in Cape Town. Unfortunately, I do not know the exact location, but come and give it a try. But for the time being, we are ready to go racing. Our lights have been formed. We've got Dean Jacobs, it looks like, on this front row again, or that might be Quincy Ngombeni, I think, on the front row, or it might be Dean Jacobs. I'm unfortunately not 100% sure, but the lights are out, and away we go for racing here for the final race here today. And it looks like Dean Jacobs is indeed starting us off here for the start of this race. Already out in front with Quincy Ngombeni just following. Once again, apologies, we just have to quickly do this one thing, but then we are back to racing with Dean Jacobs live on your screen right now. And Dean Jacobs all over the place with Carl Williams immediately jumping up into the front. So he had a good start as well. Quincy Ngombeni just a little bit further behind, also trying to keep himself relevant in this fight. But the likes of Gio Sakia also getting up there. Quincy Ngombeni now in 3rd position. What can they do? But Dean Jacobs has made a great stride to keep himself in 2nd. Unfortunately, lots of pressure there from Carl Williams, and this could be a good runaway race now for Carl. We know he's got a lot of speed built in there, and starting off strong like this could be great for him to get far and far away, because the more and more fighting that happens in this huge grid of cars, the better chances he has of getting away with this race win. But for the time being, we'll have to see what happens. There's loads of action, and oh, that is a massive off in the background over there. Not too sure who that is. We'll have to see who that is over there. That's number 19. That was Sean Norse, who just completely missed the braking point over there. And his car is, he's carrying some form of track debris, it looks like, but completely missing the braking marker over there. Off the track he went, and looked like a very high speed off the track as well. But on board now with Daniel Kent, he's trying to make it a 3rd win here tonight for this racing session. And around he goes, trying to get onto the backside of Jared Lees can make it difficult for him to keep him at bay. So we'll have to see how this goes for the drivers as they keep on pushing on strong. Oratile has unfortunately not gotten a good flip yet tonight for the final round, and he starts all the way back in 17th position. So not the best of chances here for himself to fight up and do what he needs to do. Morgan Goodwin also not getting the best of flips here at the Johannesburg Centre, down in 14th as he starts off the final race. So just not getting that high up flip. Gio Sakia got a great flip though, as he's up into 2nd position, as well as Ethan McDougall, who got a relatively okay flip. He's around about in the middle of the fighting pack of here in 11th position, and fighting out strong here in the i30N for the TGN Pro Series, trying to keep it on. Obviously one of the staff members here, but he still gets to have all the fun here at tonight's racing. So keep on pushing on from Ethan McDougall. He's got so much pressure though from behind, because he's got Daniel Kent, who's now trying to make his way up. And Daniel, we just saw him go a little bit off the grass there, actually, so super unfortunate. Oh, through the chicanes they go. It was that Dean Jacobs off again, unfortunately, just not getting the braking point right through the chicane, and he keeps on cutting it. We saw him cut it over 3 times in the previous race, and now cutting it again in race number 2. Gio Sakia, though, has the fastest lap so far of the race, and up into the purples he goes. Let's have a look at what that fastest is. It's a 1:15.3, but oh, it's been second bested there by another driver. Unfortunately, it has disappeared into our menus now, but that was a great lap time set by whoever it was. Incredible stuff. And there it is. It was actually Sean Norse down in 19th position, now up into 18th position, and fighting on strong there after we saw him go completely off the track. He's trying to keep himself relevant here in this race. Ethan McDougall also still fighting it out in 11th position, and he's got Daniel Kent just a little bit further behind, who went off the track a lap ago, and now trying to make a bit of a recovery drive here behind Ethan McDougall, and we'll have to see what he can do with the time he's got. Ralph Schuster, though, in 8th position, trying to keep on strong. You can see just trying to fight that Hyundai around the track, and you can see it even in his camera, throwing those arms around, trying to keep that Hyundai at bay here. And as we come into the next chicane, he's got a good chance here to make an overtake, but just getting blocked off. Omar Khan will hold 7th position for the time being. Ralph Schuster will keep on pushing on strong though, and we'll have to see what he can do with the remaining time here. Still 16 minutes left on the clock, so it's a lot of time for him to make up whatever he needs to, but loads of fighting up in front. Quincy Ngombeni now fighting on alongside with the likes of, looks to be Omar Khan, and there looks to be a VW getting in play there, and that looks to be Ralph Schuster, who we were just talking about, now mounting all over the curbs and trying to make his way through the track, but lots and jumping, and we've got a car off, and that is Omar Khan, who has seen the curbs and the rear end of that BTCC Ford Focus, just decides it's not happening tonight and decides to give it a little bit of a twirl, a little bit of a twist, and a bit of a shake. Unfortunate there for him, but Christopher Long has gotten a great turn of events here for him. He had a pretty good starting position in the random grid mix around, but up into third already, and I mean, to think he was leading the championship before this round started. This is great news for him, as he has a great chance here to rack up as many points as possible. Now fighting along the inside of Gio Sakia. What can he do on the cockpit cam? This is actually, looks like Derek Truscott, coming alongside the inside of Christopher Long and giving him a bit of a shove. What can they do though? Thankfully keeping on the inside of that billet and not making contact with it, but Christopher Long doing absolutely everything he can to stay in front. Gio Sakia will set the fastest lap time, as he is now closing in on Kyle Williams, who has not taken advantage of the good start that he had. He had loads of drivers behind who had dramatic slowdowns due to all the contact, and he could have easily run away with this, but Gio Sakia has indeed said no, and right on the backside, setting one of the fastest lap times of this race so far, potentially wanting to make a position change over here. You can see getting closer and closer in the Honda Civic, trying to make his way around the Toyota Corolla up in front and taking slightly different lines. He is slowly starting to pull closer as we speak of it, but a little bit better of a pull there for Kyle Williams. What's it going to be though as they come out of this next corner? A little bit of a longer line there for Gio Sakia, but it might be good for a cutback. Kyle Williams holding on as strong as he possibly can. Christopher Long is still under immense pressure though from Derek Truscott as they keep on fighting it. It looks like Truscott is going to take that inside line and keep ahead there of that looks to be Christopher Long, but now it's bumping and bumping back again. Christopher Long will have the inside line here into this next corner, and through the rear view mirror you shall see there is Derek Truscott, who's been forced a little bit further behind. So unfortunate for him, but Christopher Long reclaims his third podium spot. Morgan Goodwin down with him though. He's in a pretty big fight for the time being, surrounded by loads of drivers. Liam Choi is there. Omar Khan, after having that spin, is down there, and Oratile Motswagotsele is also a little bit further down there with the likes of Morgan Goodwin down in 17th position, down in 19th. He's actually come in for a pit stop on board there with Kat Kapari and Kutso Magia, also two friends who have been communicating a lot here at the TGN Johannesburg Center, right alongside each other now, trying to make their way further up this grid. Unfortunately, not a good rotation for them, and so they have not made their way further up. Ethan McDougall, though, is just holding off in 11th, and you can see the tiredness starting to show for him as well in the Hyundai, trying to make his way around track and catch a little bit further up, back to Daniel Kent and Ralph Schuster, just a bit further behind. Ralph Schuster also having a great drive here tonight, and as you can see there, lots and lots of drama being shown in his face, trying to make it around a couple of the other drivers over here. Through the next corner he goes, and he's holding on strong around the outside of those Toyota Corollas. They look like the Yaris GRs, but it's actually the Corolla GRs. Very similar car models, but here comes the likes of Ralph Schuster. What can he do? On the cockpit cam he goes, and almost gets cut off there. It looks like Quincy Ngombeni takes a very late line and actually manages to make it work, but a little bit of contact with the wall there from Quincy Ngombeni, and that's actually thrown him off completely. And now on the fighting chance there, Quincy Ngombeni has not had the chance that he really wanted over there, and now under huge pressure, Dean Jacobs will take that back up into 7th position, gets past Quincy, but now fighting alongside him. Quincy trying to remain in the position that he's got going over here, and so unfortunate there for him. Where has Ralph Schuster gone? He's actually gone into the pit lane as well. For the time being, this is the fighting that we're going to get. Dean, though, will try and stay on the backside of Quincy as hard as he possibly can, but he does have a lot of fighting opportunities around. Volji Truscott just a little bit further ahead of this three-way fight. And somebody's gone sideways, and who is that? That's Quincy Ngombeni. Great save there from him. Unfortunately, getting in a bit of a twist and turn there with the likes of Dean Jacobs. as well as Daniel Kenton, now being forced all the way down back to Ethan McDougall, sorry, fighting now in a huge pack of cars. And we saw him having a bit of a yawn the lap before and a bit of no man's land. Well, there's no more no man's land for him now. He's in a pretty actionable fight here and a lot of points up for grabs. Morgan Goodwin, just a little bit further up in front, is also trying to hold on here as he's got loads of pressure surrounding him. And a little bit of a bump there coming from Quincy Ungombedi. Morgan is going to be squeezed over here and just makes it around the billet in the middle of the track. And now Liam Chui on the backside of Morgan Goodwin. What can he do, though, to hold on to the outside line? Looks like Liam Chui goes up on the inside line and will get that overtake. Unless, yep, that is Liam Chui. Liam Chui goes up on the inside, and now Ethan McDougall is chasing onto the backside of Morgan Goodwin, and it's getting pressurized here for this top 10 because there is so much action. Kitso Majira has also joined in on the back then, as well as Kat Kapari. So loads of action coming over here for all the drivers here at tonight's round number 5, race number 3, as they keep on progressing. Daniel Kento is having a pretty monumental drive to get himself back up to that podium spot. We've seen him take it twice tonight already in P1, across both races, and now already up into 6th position. Let's see what he can do in the pit stop strategies to keep himself going strong. Jeff Sakia, though, a little bit further up in front, is trying to make it work and holding off against Christopher Long and Carl Williams. Christopher Long, though, will have a good chance here for loads of points up for grabs in 3rd position as he keeps on fighting out. But, he's gotten ahead because Jeff Sakia deciding to come to the pit lane, as well as Derek Truscott. So where will Vilji Truscott come out? He goes into the pit lane as well. So Daniel Kent will jump all the way from 6th up into 3rd position due to the triple pit stop happening there from Zakia, Truscott, and the other Truscott. And now Dean Jacobs has earned himself another slot back up towards the top 3 almost. And in 4th position goes Dean Jacobs, with Jared Leask just a little bit further behind, also fighting on strong. Can Dean keep it? A little bit of a missed break there. And now he's got Jared Leask on with a huge amount of pressure, trying to find his way around. And indeed, he does so. It looked like Dean gave a little bit of a position advantage there and just allowed Jared to get past. And so pushing him to the edge of the top 5. Jared will keep on pushing, though. Kat Kapari trying to get back up towards Morgan Goodwin, just up in 8th position, who's under immense pressure, trying to get past Kitso Majila. Just a little bit further in front, and now on the inside line for Morgan Goodwin. What can he do with these lap times? I mean, he's setting incredible pace at the moment, but it looks like Kitso Majia, as we've seen from previous races, he's also got immense amount of pace in him. So what can Morgan do here to keep him at bay? And it looks like for the time being, he's doing a pretty good job at it, keeping Kitso Majia right behind, as well as Kat Kapari, who's a little bit further down the line. But what can Kitso do over here? He's up on the outside line. Morgan is going defensive on the inside. Where is he going to go to place this car? Morgan will hold the inside and not let Kitso get past to potentially take away 7th position. Good fighting there. Aratile down in 15th position, also holding out strong and trying to make it work here. In the bottom left, you can see absolute focus showing from the driver as he keeps on progressing forwards in 15th position, trying to gain back up. He did pit early once again, like we saw in the previous race. The previous race, it worked incredibly well, but unfortunately, it might not be in his hands this time. Ethan McDougall also coming in for a relatively earlier pit stop. He's down in 18th position now, so we'll have to see what he can do with the remaining time he's got. Only 7 minutes left of this race. It's not a lot of time to do what you need to in this race. Jason Wright down in 19th position, also not having the race that he so desired, down in 19th. And Ralph Schuster is now out of the pit stop. Last time we saw him was in the pit, but he's out once again, fighting in the top 10 with Vilji Truscott in 8th position. What can he do here to get past the next driver? And Ralph has had a really good pace here tonight. It's a reason why he's in the TGN Pro Series, as we saw him in the previous race, really showing a good amount of flames. I mean, in the reverse grid, managing to get up there in the top 10, almost into the top 5 there in 6th position. And so that is his task now, just to keep on pushing out strong. It's a pity he missed last weekend's race, this 2 weeks ago, round 4 at Silverstone. It's a pity he missed that one. Would have been good points on the board for him, but unfortunately nothing applied for his name over there. But keep on pushing strong there for Ralph Schuster as he keeps on going. Gio Sakia is now up into 4th position and will keep on sending it for the time being. He's, like I mentioned, one of the more aggressive drivers here, but he's doing really well tonight. Not much contact for Gio Sakia in tonight's race. And Carl Williams has also had a bit of a struggle because Kitso Majia has gotten all the way out into a bit of clean air, but I don't think Kitso has had a pit stop. So Derek Truscott looks to be leading this race potentially. Not too sure if he's coming for that pit stop either. Christopher Long, also good opportunities here for the current champion leader on the board here. If you can keep this fighting up, especially with a couple more pit stops, that will come into play. So keep on going there for Christopher Long. Sean Norse, though, down in 6th position. We saw him go off all the way at the beginning, and you can see how dirty that Hyundai is, just after absolutely munching on grass here in this final race. But he has managed to recover it. Up into 6th position he goes, and this is where he'll aim to hold. Oratile, though, has gotten up into the top 10, so he's in a good point scoring bracket over here. Jared Leask just a little bit further behind, trying to make up with what he's got. But what can the drivers do as they come into the next phases of this race? They're going to continue to push further and further. But Oratile now under pressure. Here comes Jared Leask up on the inside line. What can they do? Jared will jump up on the inside. It's a huge lockup, though, for Jared Leask, and he's going to have to avoid off the track. He technically should give that position back to Oratile for going off. What's going to happen, though? Oratile, fighting hard, has not gotten the position back. Jared Leask should be giving that back for going off of the track, and we'll have to see what he does in terms of sportsmanship into the next couple of corners. But really, he should be giving that one back. But for the time being, holding off strong from Oratile, now getting a little bit bumpy from behind, and obviously it makes sense. He's a little bit upset with that fruity overtake that just got played on him. Morgan Goodwin, though, a little bit further down behind, still in 13th position, and fighting just with Liam Choi behind, and Quincy Ngombeni a little bit further up in front, trying to make do with what he's got over here. And Ethan McDougall down in 16th position has also had a bit of a rougher race this week at round number 5, as he even actually DNF from the previous race. He came up here and just decided to watch a bit. He had a bit of a stuff up in the start and just decided it wasn't worth continuing, and there was always still race number 3. And well, here we are, race number 3. He is one position out from scoring points, so he needs to try and get ahead of Kitso Magila just a little bit further up in front in 15th, but there's a good amount of cars up in front, so if he can get a good run here, which by the looks of it, it looks like he might be doing that. Up in the cockpit cam, we can see him, apologies about that, slowly closing in here on this pack. So let's see what Ethan can do as he gets closer, and lots of braking for these drivers, and lots of brake locking is what I was meant to say, as we saw loads of smoke coming from all the tires as they begin to scrub against the floor here. Oratile, though, has gotten up to 8th position now, so incredible work for himself to get even further up. He's chasing now on Ralph Schuster just up ahead, who's also just trying to keep on going here for that ultimate MasterDrive prize and the 5,000 Rand if he comes in first place. So Ralph just trying to push on now. Vilji Truscott a little bit further up in front. Unfortunately, Oratile a little bit further behind. It doesn't look like he's going to have the time to catch up here to Ralph Schuster, as he's had a really good drive here tonight to keep on going. But Christopher Long is effectively into 3rd position here, and this is great points for his championship standing. Carl Williams will also snatch a bunch. We saw him take P1 at the start of this race, and now he's back into P1 as he fights it with Derek Truscott, and this is going to be a battle that's going to last quite a bit. Good amount of space given there by Carl Williams, and so good sportsmanship being shown among the top 3. But look who's joining that top 3 fight. It's Christopher Long, the championship leader, now coming in to show his worth in the Ford Focus. What can they do? The Cupra, it's a Ford Focus, a Cupra, and a Corolla coming into the next couple of laps, and only 2.5 minutes left. There's not a lot of time to work with here. Gio Sakia is also just behind, so he needs to watch because he could potentially make up for a mistake that could happen in this top 3 fight. Christopher Long has now completely pushed Derek Truscott from P1 all the way down to P3 and will continue to push on in 2nd position. Gio Sakia is also potentially coming to make it another overtake over Derek Truscott, now in 4th position. What can he do, though, coming into these final couple of minutes? Only 2 minutes remain, and that's roughly 2 laps of racing here. So keep your eye on that leaderboard fight as it goes on, though. But Quincy Ngombeni is currently leading a relatively big pack of drivers over here. Omar Khan is actually leading it all, with Dean Jacobs just down there in 11th position. He's got quite a couple of drivers around him that are trying to contend him for his place. Jared Leask is there, Kitso Magila is there, and Morgan Goodwin. All of them just trying to make around the likes of the likes of Dean. So what can they do? But Kitso now coming up on the inside line into the next corner. Will he have it enough? And Dean just completely misinterpreting the next corner, and off the track he goes over there, and you can see major disappointment on his face. Not happy at all, shaking his head, and I think he feels like he was just treated a little bit there by Kitso Magila. But, oh, and there's a car completely sideways. Who is that? Was that potentially Liam Chui? Not 100% sure. It might have been Liam Chui. I saw Morgan Goodwin also involved in there. So lots and lots of action going here. Sean Norse is also in that fight. But what on earth happened over there? Ethan McDougall just behind Morgan over now. But now Dean Jacobs has also fallen a little bit further back from the likes of Morgan Goodwin and trying to keep into this fight, obviously after going off just now. And oh, there's contact between him and Morgan. What can they do though? And oh, there's a car wide. Good recovery though from whoever that is. I believe that might be Jared Lees as he continues fighting. Ethan McDougall gets a straight shot though, and great job from him to keep on pushing up in front as he now double overtake over Morgan Goodwin and Dean Jacobs and Jared Lee. So actually a triple overtake from Ethan McDougall as they continue to fight around track. What can he do? 31 seconds left of racing. Where is Kyle Williams coming for his final lap now? And this is going to mark the start. Christopher Long, if he wants to take pole, this is his time as they come onto the final lap around Thruxton. He's got pressure from Gio Sakia behind, and unfortunately Derek Truscott has lost out to Daniel Kent, and so completely losing out on that podium fight now. Down in 5th position, Daniel Kent will fight onto the back of Gio Sakia as they keep on going next, but Christopher Long just on the backside and continue to push. And there we go, the notification has become clear that the leader is on the final lap here for the TGN Pro Series round number 5, the final race of tonight. It's just hit the 10 o'clock mark and the end is nigh here for the drivers. Carl Williams, though, has had a great race. He started in P1. He lost a couple of positions with the pit stops, and now holding off in P1 again, just keeps on pushing on. What can he do, though? Christopher Long just a little bit further behind. Will try his absolute best to keep in second, but also get closer to the likes of Carl Williams, but Gio Sakia just a little bit further behind. We've mentioned his aggression. He could try something in these coming moments. Here he comes. Gio Sakia on the outside line has gotten a better run. Christopher Long will take defensive line. What can Gio do, though, to get in front? It's nose over nose, and both of them run completely wide. Gio Sakia, though, completely cuts over the curb, and the Shoeds will have to look after that one. But Carl Williams takes a fair P1. Gio Sakia and Christopher Long, that position is completely in the waters right now as to what's going to happen. You can see a little bit of a bump and shove there. He's not happy with that one. Daniel Kent will take 4th position. Derek Truscott will go down to 5th. Vilji Truscott in 6th. And Ralph Schuster will take 7th position. We've had Ethan on the cams the whole time. Apologies about that. Oratile Matso Gotsele will take 8th with Kitso Majila coming across now in 9th position. Good fighting for him. Omar Khan will take 10th with Liam Chui in 12th. Ethan McDougall 13th with Morgan Goodwin in 14th. Sean Norse in 15th. Oh, and a couple of wall bangs. Jared Leesk in 16th. Sean Jacobs in 17th. Kat Kapari will come across in 18th. And just a bit further down, Jason Wright, the final driver out on track, will come across the line to finish off strong here for the final round of the final race of the TGN Pro Series round number 5. It has been an action-packed race here for all of you tonight. You can see a couple of the drivers coming over to congratulate, talk about the race, and just address how that race went. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is our racing done and dusted for tonight here at the TGN Racing Centre at both Cape Town and Johannesburg. And like I mentioned, if you want to get yourself into this slice of pie, if you want to join in for all the fun, TGN is the place to come to. It's a great place. If you've never sim raced before, the staff will absolutely help you get started with some of the more beginner rigs, and then obviously moving up to some of the more fancier stuff that we see our drivers on tonight. So come on down to the Cape Town or Johannesburg centers. Give it a try, because sim racing is a lot more than you think it is. Thank you once again to MasterDrive for that end of season prize, as well as TGN providing their own prizes of 5,000 Rand to the winning driver of this Pro Series season. But thank you once again to everybody who decided to join us here tonight for round number 5. It's been an absolute pleasure commentating over this action-packed racing at Thruxton Raceway. It's been an absolute blast just to go through all of these drivers and just watch their progression as drivers. But that is all for tonight. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and follow if you're watching on Twitch. My name's been Tristan Herbst, and it's been an absolute pleasure commentating on tonight's race. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time for round number 6. It's getting closer to our end of season with only 8 rounds up for grabs here. So stay tuned, pick your favorite drivers, and make sure that they succeed in the coming rounds. We'll see you in 2 weeks, though, on a Thursday night at 8 p.m. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great one.